Good evening and welcome to the program, The Nighttime Heat, right here on Pram FM 105.5. And of course, this program tonight is being relayed by a couple of stations. Radio Quatique in Bon County is relaying this program. Radio Leader in the same Bon County, in fact, is also relaying this program. Radio King Toma, Vanjama, Lofa County, is relaying this program. And Radio Kegema in Nimba County is also relaying this program. Bana TV is relaying, and of course, a Witness FM 102.3 in the Gardnersville community is also relaying this program. Well, Sorbor George is my name. I'm expecting my panelists, Fatima and Moses. I understand Moses is already on. And together we'll have a splendid interview. Together we'll grill the Minister of Finance and Development Planning. That is at 8:30. So don't go away because it promises to be fun. Well, when we come back, I will conduct a few interviews before 8:30. Sorbor George is my name, along with my producers. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
2, 1, 0. Let's start. 3, 2, 1, 0.
So we are starting the program, The Nighttime Heat. Very, very shortly, I will be conducting an interview with Mr. Robert Haynes. Mr. Haynes is the spokesperson of the National Legislature. In fact, he will be telling us more about the resumption of duties today. And very, very shortly, I'll make sure to speak with Robert Haynes. You're listening to the Nighttime Heat. Make sure to share the program. Just tap on your phone from FM Monrovia 105.5. Again, from FM Monrovia 105.5, and share the show. Make sure to share the show so that your friends, your relatives, your loved ones can all be on top of what is coming out of the Nighttime Heat tonight. I'm still expecting my panelists, Fatima Salif and Moses. Let me see what Moses on. Moses, welcome to the program, Moses.
Thank you, Sorbor. It's always great, man.
Moses, welcome to the program.
Yeah, do you hear me, Sorbor? I'm here.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm okay, man. It's always good to meet up with you. I know tonight is the big one. Having the Minister of Finance, we look forward to seeing the Minister. So let me
Yes.
make some disclosure. The Minister and I attended BWI together. I know Ngafuan very well. So we look forward to this big interview tonight, and we hope that everything goes well. Let me say hi to the people of Monrovia and Liberia, and I hope everything is well. Sorbor?
Yes, surely. I'm sure everything will go well. Let's speak with the spokesperson of the National Legislature first. The guy is Robert Haynes. Robert Haynes should be telling us about the resumption of duties by the legislature. Let's try to speak with Robert Haynes quickly. Robert, welcome to the Nighttime Heat.
To stability, judge all of us, nothing easy to continue to inform our country on what you do.
Okay, we understand that the national legislature today resume what are the second quarter. Uh, Tell us more about the proceedings today.
Yes, and so consistent with the amendment being done with the public financial management law of Liberia, that says that we should have 3 quarters break because, mind you, then we have had a fiscal space. So our budgetary period used to be from July 1 to June 30. So initially, the legislature ran from January to August, and then they take break, and it will be referred to as agricultural break. But because of the amendment being done to the public financial management law, and then Liberia transition to calendar year budget requires that we have to have 3 quarters. So our first break we start up from January to March, the third Friday in March, and then we resume the second Friday in May. So today we resume business, which is the second quarter of the second section.
Okay, so today, were all the lawmakers, the senators, the members of the House of Representatives, were they all in session today?
No, with the resumption is not session day.
Okay.
Today is Friday.
Okay.
Yes, so today is Friday. Consistent with the law of the amendment being done, like I said to you, the public financial management law. So it speaks to this.
So there was no formal there was no okay. There was no formal program.
Conducted on today.
Okay.
The next time we have formal program is in keeping with our Constitution, Article 32B, that says that the legislature shall commence. The legislature shall conduct business once a year.
Okay. So
working Monday in January.
Okay. So
we can do a parade where we post the flag. Then the Senate, the House will march directly opposite the executive marshal into the compound of the legislature. And when we reach in front of the returner, the Senate will take their side, the House will take their side and go to their respective chambers. But we are still in the thing here, and so at the end of what we do is just it's a quarter break. So returning for the first quarter break for the second quarter. So it was not a formal program being conducted.
Okay, so hopefully on Tuesday we'll see the both houses in session.
Yes, on Tuesday the both houses will be in session. It will be the first day sitting of the second section, the second quarter of the second section.
Okay. Okay. Many thanks. Many thanks, Mr. Haynes. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for continuing to do the job you do for our country, for to join all of us. And thank you so much to all of the people who continue to follow and see the great work you do.
Okay. Many thanks. He's Robert Haynes. He's the spokesperson of the National Legislature. Listening to the Nighttime Heat right here on Prime FM 105.5. And of course, many stations are relaying this program tonight. Let's see what we can speak with the presidential press secretary, Kula Fofana. We had spoke with Kula and asked that we could speak with her live on the Nighttime Heat concerning the visitation of the foreign president today. But Moses, you listen to the spokesperson of the legislature about the reopening. What did you gather from him?
Oh, well, excellent question. I was a little bit concerned whether which of the houses he represents. Is he speaking for members of the House of Representatives, or was he speaking for the Senate? You know, he had two houses. So I don't know.
Yes, he was speaking. He was speaking for both houses as it relates to the resumption of duties. But basically, he's the spokesperson of the Liberian Senate.
Oh, okay. Well, look.
But Moses, before you come in, I think we need to talk about this. On Tuesday, they will be resuming.
Yeah,
So, what's going to happen?
you just took that out of my
Because
mouth.
I know, I knew you wanted to talk about that because the Councillor for Nantikova will understand that we don't know how true is it, but reportedly he has resigned and the resignation should be taken should come into effect on the 12th of this month. So we don't know whether he's going to preside or whether the majority bloc speaker going to preside.
Oh, legislatively, in keeping with the rules of the House, if this information is true, if the Speaker resigns, then automatically the next person in line will be the Deputy Speaker. So there will be a void created, and then the Deputy Speaker, when they assemble, the Deputy
Okay,
Speaker will preside. Yeah,
Hold the line, hold the line. Let's speak with
sure.
the president. Okay, she gone off. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that if the Speaker resigns, a void would be created in the House of Representatives in terms of leadership. So the
Mhm.
deputy speaker is going to step up to the place and becomes the presiding officer in keeping with 49, in keeping with Article 49, Article 33. When there's a quorum, there has to be a presiding officer, and in that capacity, that person will be the deputy speaker. And in keeping with the rules of the House, there has to be a leadership election within the period of 60 days. They may decide to do it within 2 days. They may decide to do it within 4 days. But the law provides that there has to be a leadership election. And so let me just provide this information. Yes, there are people who are erroneously portraying these messages that if Speaker Kofa resigns, automatically Richard Combs becomes Speaker. Obviously not. In keeping with the laws, in keeping with the rules. If we have to be a country of laws, then there has to be an election. That's how it works. Except they want to do it the other way. But if we have to do it in keeping with the rule of law, we're having to be a key component of
Okay.
the Unity Party arrest agenda, then there has to be an election within the House.
Now, the issue with the resignation is just of this for not Councillor Fanatikova is just being speculated. We haven't really heard from him or seen an official document from him that he has tendered in his resignation. We haven't seen anything of that nature, but we've been hearing that some backdoor negotiation has been taking place. We don't know more about that, but we're hoping that this whole crisis can really come to an end. In fact, that's one of the questions we'll be asking the Minister of Finance as to how this whole crisis on Capitol Hill impacted the budget process, whether negatively or positively. That could be one of the questions I'll be asking the Minister of Finance. So hoping that this whole issue, the whole crisis, can really come to an end at the House of Representatives.
I definitely agree, Sober. The negative implications of the current situation in the House of Representatives, the implications are profoundly huge. They have stalled the viability of the Liberian government. I mean, basically nothing is happening at the House of Representatives. So if you do not have a functioning, effective, House of Representatives, that can really, impact a lot of things. Whether people are in agreement or not, the crisis in the House of Representatives has got to come to an end, and it must come to an end by adhering to the rule of law.
Yeah, surely. The issue. I just received a message from Fatima that shortly she'll be here. The issue of ending the crisis in line with the rule of law. I think that should be behind us now, especially with speculation or reports that we are gathering concerning the resignation of Councillor for Nanti Kofa. But I think the sticker issue there, Moses, could be the issue of election. Now, let's assume that Kofa resigned and the letter is there. We know by the 12th it takes effect. What's going to happen? Would there be election in line with their own rules and procedures? With the majority bloc speaker, would he give in for election? Because there are other colleagues who are in the either the majority bloc or the minority bloc. They too have their eyes on the speakership position. So whether he's going to allow the majority bloc members going to allow for new elections and or not, that could be another point of controversy if that doesn't happen. So we're hoping that they are negotiating behind the scene either to retain the majority bloc speaker Kong or either to hold election. So that could be the sticky issue, Moses.
So, but the only way forward legally, in keeping with the House's own rules, in keeping with the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, when the void is created in the leadership, you cannot fill that void by somebody that the Supreme Court has already declared to be illegal. The Supreme Court said Kofa Amekon is not speaker. The process which brought him to the leadership as speaker was illegal. So if we are going to be a country of laws, then the whole issue of Kum has to be sidestepped. If Kum has interest in becoming Speaker of the House of Representatives, I would say the most appropriate thing to do would be what? To conform to the process. Allow the members of the House of Representatives to elect the Speaker of their choice. If they choose to elect Mr. Cohn, Representative Cohn, that would be great. But if they choose to elect someone else, the Honorable Representative Cohn will have to accept that. That's the law. The law is the law. There's no other way around this. Anything contrary to that will go back to square one. The problem will continue to exist. There has to be an election. You can't handpick on and just impose it on the people.
Moses, I agree with you. There has to be election, but it depends, Moses. I'm sure Kong is the one that the current administration will feel comfortable working with. So it's possible that there could be some, behind the door negotiations for Kong to be retained. And if Kong is retained, I don't think there'll be any controversy. And the thing is, they could discuss with the other colleagues, other those in the majority and the minority bloc, to say, look, this is the man who won. Maybe that could be done by the president, and nothing absolutely wrong with that. This is the man who won, and if they all agree, listening to the wisdom of the president, I think that there will be no noise regarding that. But that there is a need for more negotiation behind the scene, especially after Speaker Kofa had tendered in his resignation. Moses?
Yeah. Look, so but the president and his people have continuously said that the executive doesn't want to be seen as interfering in the crisis in the House of Representatives. And that is the message that President Barker himself has continuously propagated. So we have to make sure that what the president said, he lays by what he said. If he doesn't want to be seen as interfering, undermining the leadership process in the House of Representatives, look, Sorbor, this is very simple. It's very simple to resolve. If Mr. Kuhn has the numbers, if the supporters of Mr. Kuhn believe that they have what it takes to retain him as speaker, when Mr. Kofa, when Speaker Kofa resigns, that creates a vacuum. That
Mhm.
creates an opportunity for Richard Cohn to be elected with ease. Just as he said, they can come together if they form the majority. If they form the majority, they can go to session. The deputy speaker will preside, and they can elect Richard Cohn. There's nothing to fuss about. It's very easy to solve. The only time it becomes a problem if the president, like you're saying, if the president chooses to endorse a candidate, if the president chooses to say, oh, well, this is the man I feel comfortable with, the election in the House of Representatives cannot be about the president. It has to
Okay.
be about those who are in there. You know?
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
Moses, let's hold you there. Please share the show again. Just if you are using your phone or your laptop, just tap on your phone. Pram FM Morovia 105.5. Again, Pram FM Morovia 105.5, and then you share the show for your friends, your loved ones, your relatives, your partners to also be on top of what is coming out of the heat tonight. This any moment from now, that is at 8:30. I'm sure few minutes from now will be playing host to the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Augustine Kpehe Ngafuan. You know, the minister led a high power Liberian delegation to Washington D.C. For the spring meeting, and of course they have gone to engage partners to consolidate or bolster support for the arrest agenda of the government. So they are back now. So I'm sure he'll be telling us whether they were able to accrue anything or whether the meetings were all talking shop. But let me say hi and welcome to Fatima. We didn't see her last edition. Fatima, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to all of those in Radio Land, to our viewers, our listeners on all of the social media platforms. I say thank you so much. Unfortunately, I was unwell on Wednesday and I couldn't come in, but I'm here today. Sorry for the little delay. I was caught in traffic, but thank you so much for having me.
Okay. We're just talking about the issue with the. We spoke with the spokesperson of the national legislature before you could come in,
Mhm.
and the guy said they've resumed today, although there was no formal ceremonies, but they've resumed. And on Tuesday they will have sessions, the both houses.
Mhm.
So we're just discussing, trying to analyze as to what's going to happen on Tuesday. What are the majority block speaker going to preside, or whether for Nanti Kofa, because we understand that you'll be tendering in his resignation. That is any moment from now, but it should take effect on the 12th. We don't know yet. So,
Well, I'm proud to say that today we welcomed the Prime Minister of Barbados. She was here today. We welcomed her at the City Hall, and the President and the Vice President, and of course our Speaker Richard Nambekon were in attendance.
okay.
And the President did mention that Richard Nambekon, he called him and our speaker. So the situation with the
That
House.
doesn't mean that all is over now.
Well, I'm just saying, Richard Namgekong remains the speaker at this time.
Okay.
Whoever has quorum, the president is going to do business with it. And Richard Namgekong is the one who has the quorum at this point, and so we will continue to do business with him. At any point, if the former slash Supreme Court speaker has quorum, we will
You
do
call him
business
Supreme
with him
Court
as
Speaker?
well.
You sound so interesting. But what's happening? Moses, are you seeing her dress
Uh,
code along with mine? We're
look,
almost the same thing.
I was
Gold
just
and black.
about I was just about to talk about that.
I
Like
know.
Fatima was
Hey
looking
Moses,
in
how
your
are you?
closet, or you were looking in Fatima's closet, and the
No,
both of you,
I didn't. I didn't look in your closet. She's far from me. She lives
yeah,
far from me.
but yeah, you guys look great. You guys look
Thank you.
great.
So,
Fatima, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Same here,
Let me
same
let
here.
me just say something quickly regarding what you said, Fatima. Look,
Mhm.
Liberia cannot be a country where might makes right. If the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia came and said Richard Kuhn is not a speaker because the process which brought him to the speakership was illegal, then I think President Boakai is in error to continuously refer to this man as speaker. That undermines the rule of law. And when you look at the arrest agenda of this government, rule of law is one of those key pillars. And to have people in this very administration referring to somebody who portrays himself as a speaker, and the Supreme Court said, look, my man, you are not a speaker. Let's agree that Rachel Kuhn is speaker. If Rachel Kuhn is speaker, then why are they running behind Kofa to resign? Isn't that insane? It doesn't add up. Kuhn is not speaker. Legally, he's not speaker. He's a purported speaker. He pretends to be who he's not. Thank you.
Okay, I think I understand what you've said, and you are speaking in line with the Supreme Court ruling. We're just hoping, Moses, because it's almost it's we're hoping that this matter will come to an end. In fact, we are getting reports. In fact, that could be that could be credible. That. Speaker Kofa just handed in his resignation today. We get incredible reports. This platform came basically to provide credibility, balance, and professionalism. And we believe that whatever we broadcast on this platform, it has a vast iota of truth in it. Let me hear from you, Fatima. Let's assume that what we gathering it could be true. Do you think that's going to end the entire matter?
Well, we cannot advise the former speaker or the Supreme Court speaker on what to do. The fact remains that Liberia is a country of laws, and we are going to make sure that we continue to move this country forward. And how can we do that? The president will continue to do business with the people who have quorum, who have the numbers to do the Liberian people's business. And as he mentioned, after the Supreme Court ruled, he said he acknowledges the rule, but anyone who has quorum to continue to do the Liberian people's business is what he's going to do. And I am sure that if in the event the Supreme Court speaker resigns, if he resigns, whatever that is just a formality, because there was an election held and Richard Nambikon was made speaker, and his peers voted him on a white ballot, and he became Speaker of the House of Representatives. And I do acknowledge him as our speaker. And today our president mentioned in front of foreign dignitaries that he is indeed our speaker.
What was the countenance like when the president announced that?
Well, he was on stage. It was the president, it was the vice president, the president, the Bayesian leader, and it was him, the speaker, and it was our city mayor. So they were on, they were sitting on the platform, and they were doing, having the session that we were receiving the guests. So at this point, all I can say is that Richard Nambekon remains the Speaker of the Republic of Liberia. As hard as that is for a lot of people to swallow, he is the Speaker.
Okay. While you're listening to the Nighttime Heat, kindly make sure to share the show on your phone. Just tap Prime FM 105.5. Again, Prime FM Monrovia 105.5, Prime FM Monrovia 105.5, and you share the show. If you are using your laptop, the same thing, Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Any moment, I'm sure we'll have the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, fresh from Washington. he led a team of Liberian government officials. They went to the spring meeting and they are back now. So you'll be updating Monrovian and the Liberians about the outcome of the meeting. Was the meeting fruitful? Did we accrue anything from there? Or it was just talking shops and eating and whining and dancing? So he'll be coming to tell us about that, any moment from now when the minister joins us. But Moses, let's hear from you.
Yeah, let me just say this, Sorbor Fatima, the role of the media is to educate, and when you educate, you don't misinform. That what makes us credible. Any media institution that has integrity problem, that media institution, the future of that institution is doomed. So as podcasters using the airways of Liberia to educate Liberia, to see something in black and white and misrepresent the truth continuously, that's a disservice to journalism. I'm really disappointed by that. That's something in black and white. This is not a making of Kofa. It is not my making. It is not Sobor's making. It is constitutional, Fatima. And it is even condescending, Fatima, for you to refer to Speaker Kofa as the former speaker, the former speaker. We have a speaker. No, Fatima, I know you are entitled to your opinion, but my sister, this has to do with your integrity, the integrity of this institution, my integrity, and Mr. George's integrity as well. We can support whatever we choose to, but we must do so with some degree of credibility. Richard Kuhn legally as defined by the laws of the country. It's not speaker. Let me stop there.
Well, like you said, we're going to all agree or disagree and be respectful. But the fact remains that the developmental agenda of this president must go on. Anyone who hinders the progress of Liberia is not, and who is not in line of progressing our nation, we're not going to wait for them. This speaker thing is behind us now. The fact remains that Funati and his peers started this 6 months ago. His peers who voted for him decided that they no longer wanted to work in him. They had no confidence in him, and they asked him to that they decided to vote him out. They sent him numerous invitations to come to their session for them to give him due process. He rejected all of the due processes that they afforded him. Even he said it. And then his peers voted, and of course, they removed him. Funati has been removed long since. And then, because the Supreme Court wanted to put our country into a free fall and bring chaos and bring anarchy into our nation, they made the ruling however way they made it. I am here to say the president did not deny or reject what the Supreme Court said, but to move this country forward, he did mention that whosoever had the quorum, he was going to do business with. He did not say Speaker Kofa. He did not say Speaker Kuhn. He said he will continue to do business with the people that have quorum. I always say it shows the leadership style of Kofa that in 6 months, he was unable to convince anyone to get him to 37 to have a quorum. So this is not the president's fault. We're not going to throw this into the president's lap, but what do? If we turn power over to Kofa, and every day he adjoins and adjoins, the Supreme Court clearly stated in their ruling that they cannot force his peers to join him. They said it. They said he should compel his friend, but they didn't say how. How was he going to compel them to come? And these men, because he denigrated them, he was baited by someone to go and talk ill of his peers. They decided they don't want him. Now, the president decided he will continue to work with the forum. I will tell you that Richard Nangbe Kun remains the Speaker of the Republic of Liberia.
Okay. Okay, that's Fatima Salif. Let's try to speak. I know the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Finance should be on by now. But Mr. Minister, can you give us just a minute or two? Let's speak with the Presidential Press Secretary. Initially, we wanted to speak to her, but she was not available. Kula, welcome to the Nighttime Heat. Well, I'm okay. Just bring up to speed, Kula, about the visitation of the foreign president. Who is she, and what is it that we may likely accrue from that visit?
Well, thank you very much. The president we have in country, the president of the Barbados Republic, and the name is Her Excellency Sandra Mason. She's here as a guest of the president of our president, President of Liberia. She came on yesterday and she spent the night already and she met the president this morning. There were a number of occasional activities happened. They welcomed her at the Monrovia City Hall and turned over the key of Monrovia as it will normally happen. So the basic essence of the importance of this visit is that Liberia and Barbados share some common history. In fact, some of our former presidents specifically.
Oh, Kula has gone off. We're hoping that she can call back as soon as possible. We don't know what's happening. We're hoping that she can call back as soon as possible. As soon as we get Kula, we take her back on the line. Okay, so you're listening to the Nighttime Heat. This program, again, we say has no political linkage. This program came in the space, in the nighttime space, basically to provide credibility, balance, and professionalism. It has absolutely no political linkage. I think she's back on the line. Yes, Kura, go right ahead quickly.
Yeah, so real quick, as I was saying, this visit is really important for Liberia, especially in the areas of tourism, technology, and more so shared common interests, specifically on the cultural front. And also her visit is also part of the celebration of the 160th anniversary of Crucible. As you know, tomorrow the president, our president, and the president of Barbados will be headed to Crucible, where that celebration will happen. And the visits here will also look at different engagement in the line of technology, in the line of trade and commerce. In fact, just today, the president of Barbados did announce a visa-free opportunity for Liberians wanting to go to visit Barbados. As you know, Barbados has a huge tourism industry, tourism potential. There's some major international stars and artists who are from that country. Maybe something that Liberians will recognize. So the singer or songwriter Rihanna, there where she's from, and she was recently made one of the ambassadors there. So I mean, even sometimes some people who visited that place, you hear they said the Liberian Kolopa that we speak. I mean, they also speak almost similar, the intuition, the intonation. And besides that, this visit really Sorbor is very, very important, especially coming in a time that Liberia is working tirelessly on uplifting our tourism industry. As you may know, the lower house has passed the Tourism Act, and the upper house also has signed the act. It's currently with the president. Hopefully by next week, sometime early next week, he will sign this, and this will even begin the process of removing the tourism component from the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism to have a tourism authority.
Okay.
And that institution will be a standalone to highlight Liberia's tourism areas and all of those different cultural centers or tourism centers that we have that can showcase Liberia. And as you know, in other countries, tourism is a huge contributing factor to national budgets in countries that have really harnessed the opportunities that the tourism industry has. So this visit, this moment, is also an opportunity to really elevate that and begin our shared opportunities with Barbados and Liberia.
Okay, many thanks, Madam Press Secretary. We're hoping to get you here anytime next week so that we can conduct an extensive interview with you on the nighttime heat. So at least you can form part of the heat anytime you have the time, anytime next week, please.
Oh, absolutely. I'm open to that. We can work on the schedule, look at what works, and then we definitely be
Okay.
available to speak to you and speak to the Liberian people. This is something that we really look forward to doing all the time to update the Liberian people of the happenings of the presidency, the actions and activities of His Excellency President Joseph Kphe.
Okay. Many thanks. You are doing a great job. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm sure the Minister of Finance is there already. Moses Fatima, we have the man who's turning the wheels of the economy, of the country's economy, with us tonight. So share the show, please. If you are listening, we have the Minister of Finance on. Share the show. If you're in Bonkana, you're in Lofa, you're in whatever part of the country you are, share the show. Just tap on your phone, Pram FM Morovia 105.5. Again, Pram FM Morovia 105.5. If you have your laptop there, the same thing, and you share the show so that your friends, your loved ones, your relatives, your partners can also be on top of what is coming out of the heat tonight. Let's welcome honorably the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Minister Augustine Kpehe Ngafuan. Mr. Minister, welcome to the Nighttime Heat.
Well, thank you, Sorbor. It's great to be on the show. I like your name, the Nighttime Heat. Sometimes we need to be heated up to be energetic and continue to do for our country. But let me apologize for the acoustics. I'm in the office of the Minister of Finance on the 9th floor on Broad Street. I just concluded a meeting. Actually, the time was a little bit jammy. I would have come to your studio. We have some noise on Broad Street. I think you're hearing it. I had
Yeah,
thought by
surely.
now night the noise will cool down, but what it proves also is that night activity has improved. Lights are all around. People are on the streets longer doing business. So I need to apologize that my background may not be as quiet as I would have wanted, but it's also a positive thing that our people are around. They are doing their business. They are moving. Their life is going on.
Thank
Okay, thank you very much. We have Fatima as one of the panelists on the show, and Moses Sani as well. Moses, you want to greet the minister?
Obviously, Minister Gafuan, it's a pleasure to see you via social media. It's been a while since we had the opportunity to interface. And let me make this disclosure. The minister and I went to one of the best high schools in Liberia. We attended BWI together. So, Minister Gafuan, it's a pleasure to have you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses.
Okay.
It's nice seeing you. Let me also, for disclosure, say that Moses, he was 2 years my senior on BWI. When we entered, those were the individuals that made us to grow from boys to men. So Moses, it's nice seeing you again, and Bowie is there. And thanks for all you do through Aja. I follow that too. You're very
Okay.
active away from the country, but you are connected to the country. And it's nice seeing Fatima. It's been quite a while. And even you, Soba. I
Okay.
can remember
Thank you, Mr.
when last
Minister.
I
Thank
saw
you
you,
very much.
so energetic.
Okay. Now, Mr. Minister, we have a lot in store for you tonight. A couple of questions, and so we'll have to kick the ball rolling. I see this interview running up to at 11 o'clock tonight because we have a lot to ask you. So we know you just returned from Washington D.C. You led a high-level delegation of government officials. The purpose was to go to the spring meeting and then engage with partners for the purpose of consolidating, support for the government's arrest agenda. And now that you are back, we want to say welcome back. And the first question: how did it go?
Well, thank you very much, Sorbor. I think it went generally very well. The spring meeting of the IMF and the World Bank was an opportunity for countries to go and engage on some of the issues, topical issues that relate to the global economy, also to push their country's agenda and meet partners and friends. So we were there. The high-level Liberian delegation also included the governor of the Central Bank of Liberia, Honorable Henry F. Samoa, and his team, the deputy governor, Dr. Dukley, and others. I was on the team. My deputy minister, Depu Wazuo, was also a member of our delegation. The Minister of Works, Minister of Public Works, Minister Giddings was on the team. Minister Dr. Jaso Jala, Minister of Education. The acting managing director of the Liberia Electricity Corporation was there. And later on, the MD of the National Pool Authority also joined. Overall, this was an opportunity for us to engage friends of Liberia to update them on where we are with the development agenda. I think in January of this year, we converged on the beautiful city of Buchanan, where President Boyka launched the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development. It is an agenda that is costed at $8.4 billion, meant to take the country from this current state to lower middle income status by 2029. GDP per capita now is about 849. The ambition is to take it to at least $1,050 by 2029. We intend to take actions that can reduce multidimensional poverty from the current state, which is about 45% to 36%. And then we have other targets. But the net effect here is to transform the country. One of the things we want to do is to increase electricity access from current 33% to 75%. As you know, we were with President Boyka in Tanzania at the World Bank, African Development Bank sponsored energy summit, where Liberia was among 12 countries selected to develop an energy compact, which essentially encapsulates our plans for transforming the energy sector, our plans for generation, distribution, and transmission, our plans for bringing in the private sector. And so, that's one of the ambitions there. So we updated our partners, the IMF, the World Bank, and others, on where we are amidst this, very, what should I say, challenging global environment. It is a period of consequence, a period that a lot of things are converging at the same time. In engaging the IMF, we talked about where we are. The IMF will soon be feeding a team. We are on an IMF program. We're performing generally very well under the program. We are looking to build up the country's resilience. We are working on something that could come on stream in 2026, the Resilience Sustainability Trust Fund that could give some significant support to deal with our challenges. So we're working on that. I will not unveil the details until we reach a point where we can almost at the point of finality, but the progress we are making on that front uh, is very, very heartening. And so with the World Bank, we concluded with the World Bank conversations on their new country program framework. And the framework will cost about 490 million. The World Bank support to Liberia over the next 6 years. The main sectors that will be affected will include energy, education to reduce what we call learning poverty, agriculture, mainly agribusiness, ICT and others, governance. So, we had those good engagements. But besides with the World Bank and the IMF, as you know, a week before the IMF World Bank meeting, I also led a delegation that comprised the Minister of Works and one or two others, including the NPA Managing Director. We were in Kuwait City. The main reason was we had gone there to engage the Kuwaiti Fund. The Kuwaiti Fund led the consortium of Arab lenders that financed the Banga Salaye leg of the Banga Menikoma Highway. We are now about almost 90%, although there have been challenges on that highway for more than a year because of difficulties that the country had been experiencing. Movement of works on that road practically came to a halt because the country took some facility to rehabilitate the National Port Authority. For more than 6 years or so, we didn't pay. So the Kuwaitis have frozen their disbursements. It had led to some stalling. So we firstly had to negotiate, restructure that arrangement, and we have started to pay. That gave us the confidence. They have now given us the green light. They are now making the payments to the contractors. So the Banga salary leg will soon be completed. But what we are concerned about is the Saraye Vonjama leg, where funding commitments did not exist. But we have a funding commitment for the Vonjama Menikoma leg through the African Development Bank. So we brought it forth to the Kuwaitis to lead this consortium again to get the resources. It will be upwards of $180 million for this 115-kilometer stretch of road. And the Kuwaitis obviously were excited that we were back. For me, this was my almost full visit to Kuwait. In 2010, I had gone there to conclude debt cancellation or negotiations, and then to initiate this very Banga Menekoma Highway. And then we got in 2011, we got the first 2 million that went into the feasibility studies for the road. So it was good to see familiar friends. They are still there, and they are excited that we're re-engaging. So they've committed to leading the Arab contractors or lenders. So they suggested a part two engagement on the sidelines of the spring meeting, which we did. We also met not only the Kuwaiti fund, but we also met the Saudi fund and Badia. These were the people that financed the first leg of the road. Essentially, the Arab, they call themselves the Arab Coordination Group. They have agreed to provide the financing for that the next stretch, but focusing first on the Banga Konya, which would be the total would be almost 70 million. And we also want to do an overlay of the Banga Salaye, because what was done was just one layer. We want to put another layer to make the road solid. That will cost almost 15 million. So we're talking about the first 80 million. We met the president of Badia, Mr. Sidi Uta, who was very generous to say, well, in fact, Badia on its own can give us can produce, can put forth a significant amount of the money. In fact, Mr. Sidi Uta is made probably transition to the African Development Bank. He is a candidate for president. He's one of those, that are running. So we met all the candidates and we wish all of them well. But at the end of the day, we got good feelers. We came from the IMF World Bank meeting feeling very assured that the development agenda is on. We had the education minister, the works minister, the managing director of the Liberia Electricity Corporation joined me in a lot of meetings that related to the sectors. As you know, we have mobilized more than almost 100 million for education through a project that is called Excel. Today the government and the World Bank, I think, went into negotiation of that project. You will see the construction of a lot of schools across the country. Uh, but let me not get into the details. The Minister of Education will find some time to give you details. The EDC Managing Director was there. As you know, you see the impact that the government is making, thanks to the energy, the creativity of the minister, or not minister, but acting MD. I have to be politically correct before I cause some problem for him, because I'm told he has to pass the legislative hurdle. And so, acting MD Sharif, we had some engagement with the IFC. The IFC, which is the private sector leg of the World Bank. They are financing some private sector engagement for generation through solar, through a company called SkyTech that will give us, I think, between 15 to 20 megawatts of power. When I see everything lining up, I see progress for the country in spite of challenges. So we came very, very fit, and that it was from there that we decided that we engaged in deep dive conversations with sector ministries. And since Tuesday, we've been discussing on how we move faster. The progress so far is good, but President Barkai is impatient with delay. And so we are the lieutenants. We have been given the marching orders. The people are excited with what they see, but they want more. As I said, the burden of doing well, the reward for doing well is the burden to do more. So the Liberian people's appetite for development has been whetted, and they want more. So we are working tooth and nail. So the deep dive gave us the opportunity to get into some of the details, which I will give you later as we go on. But overall, it was a good meet. It was a good engagement of our part.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, for the updates. I think we can begin to ask our questions now. But let me begin on this note. You made mention of some 490 million, which the World Bank has agreed to contribute. But you didn't say as to how much will be going towards education, RTC, and energy.
Well, we give you the biggest chunk will go to energy. The biggest chunk in the new World Bank's program, we are emphasizing energy hugely. The reason is that, in fact, we are even talking about a possible a second hydroelectric facility to improve generation by upwards of, I think, 150 megawatts. The current capacity of Mount Coffee is about 88, but one of the turbines is down, which reduces it to, I think, 66. So we have to up generation. And the second hydro, the Simport 2 hydro project may cost more than 600 million. The World Bank alone will not be able to provide that money. We're going to access some funds through some other partners, private sector, government budget. So over the period, they're going to be the electricity sector can only get better. So where we are today, you know, we when we look tomorrow and look back, there will be a material difference. So
Okay.
I'm very upbeat and very optimistic about the trajectory of progress.
Okay. Mr. Minister, before I go to my panelists, let me ask this question again. You know, often when these sort of monies are announced, especially what you've just announced, 490 million, sometimes our poor feels that you go to the meetings and they give you the cash and you just put it in the bag and you bring it home. You bring it to your country. Do you care to tell us how does it work? How because when people announced aid to a country, how long does it take and how does it work before you begin to get the cash on ground and the implementation of whatever the money was intended for?
You know, when these are commitments, they don't give you cash, they don't give you check and put in your pocket, or they give you bags of money to put on your bike and bring to your country. But these are commitments of support that will translate into quote unquote cash or action, or disbursements that will translate into tangible change later. Now, the World Bank's commitment of money is to support their new country program. There's going to be intervention. I told you there's going to be intervention in energy, intervention in education, intervention in agriculture, mainly focusing on agribusiness. Projects are going to be developed, and that will take some time. But after the project is developed, these agreements will be signed. Individual projects will be appraised, and that they will be ratified by the legislature, and they will be implemented through implementing agencies or government implementing agencies. And here is it. Sorbor. There can be commitment of cash, but there's another thing to have the cash disbursed. There are rules and regulations, procurement rules and regulations, and other fiduciary requirements that must be met. One of the things we're trying to do, as we are trying to increase the pool of funds that we dedicate to development, is to access or leverage the pool of funds that we already have. We are intentional to increase the disbursement rate. The disbursement rate of projects, donor-funded projects in the country, leaves can be made better. For some projects, they are as low as 15%, 20%. So what it means is that you have cash committed, but because you're not moving as fast as possible, you are 20% in implementation. They can only give you the cash if you implement. So when we are discussing in the deep dive sessions, we are unlocking all the impediments to implementation. And we are taking actions, coming up with action matrices where we at the Ministry of Finance are holding ourselves accountable. And the ministries and agencies, we are holding them accountable. Some of the problems of delay come from the donors themselves. So we coordinate donor engagement. So where it is a problem from the donor, we are telling them precisely that they must move faster. So this whole issue about moving faster is not only for government and government entities, it's also for the partners. They know that. I've been clear with them. So what you're going to see in all the sectors, whether it is public works and infrastructure, where we're talking about the Ganta Zweju, let's say the Ganta Hapa Highway, you're going to see faster delivery from what we are doing. And because we are identifying all the things that are the reasons why things are not moving. Government is also producing or putting forth its counterpart funding. But it's one thing to say you're going to put it forth, but it's another thing to give it on time. So we're working on those things. So from where I sit, the Ganta Hapa Highway, you're going to see movement. From where I sit, you're going to see action, movement on the leg from Buchanan, to Greenville, what we call the coastal highway. I think the Minister of Works is I think he left for that for Buchanan or so yesterday, and so we also had conversation in agriculture. We have had conversation in health. Next week we're having conversation in education, mines and energy, and then electricity, especially with LEC. So the confluence of all of these actions is quick or delay. As I said yesterday at the Ministry of Health, we must not only walk our talk, we must run our talk. So we are in a running mode. And so
Okay.
the net effect will be action and delivery on all fronts.
Okay, you're listening to the Nighttime Heat right here on Prom FM 105.5. Again, share the show. Just make sure that you tap on your phone or your laptop, Prom FM on Rovio 105.5. Our guest tonight is the Minister of Farmers and Development Planning, Honorable Augustine Kpehe Ngafuan. So let me allow my two panelists each to ask question, just a question each, and then we'll go straightly into the economy. We are still on the spring meeting. Moses, want to begin?
Yes,
And then
sure.
followed by Fatima.
Yeah, Mr. Minister, thank you so much for the explanation, the progress made thus far. You sounded real upbeat. If I could just quote you, you said we came back home feeling very assured. It means that you made some significant progress and you're looking forward to something. Now, something you said, my own experience over the year has shown that most funding institutions, including governments and all of that, when they make commitments, some of these commitment comes with uh, prerequisite requirements. They come with strings. Well, we will give you hypothetically. Someone will say, well, Mr. Gaffron will give you $100 to do this. But before we give you the $100, we want you to initiate a process, and you come up with the first $20. So I'm saying this to ask you, what are some of those prerequisite conditions that were set by all of these institutions, the guys from Kuwait, the World Bank? What are some of the prerequisite conditions that, hey, you need to do this, then we'll do the rest? Can you speak to that?
Well, thank you, Moses. One of the main things that, especially partners that support infrastructure, require is what is called a resettlement action plan or plan RAP. More often than not, especially the World Bank and some other partners, they don't fund that. If you are doing a road from here to Vahu, and you know why I said Vahu, right, Moses?
I know, my man, that's your time.
Okay. The reason is that all those that are on the path, if those houses that need to be demolished for the road to move, like the World Bank, their tradition is to say that is the government's responsibility, to move the people. They don't usually fund that. So governments have been obligated to funding that. In fact, some of the reasons why projects have delayed over time is because sometimes governments, not just Liberian government, some governments get challenged financially. Their inability to finance that other critical component, delays many infrastructure projects. That's why the African Development Bank has now changed that modality. The African Development Bank gives that the financing for you to deal with that. It's all part of the financing. So it has made projects at the African Development Bank to move faster. So, and then there will be a project will cost 100 million, and then it will be said that the government's counterpart funding obligation may be 15 million. And some of the counterpart funding obligation may not necessarily be in cash, but in kind. They may want you to give office space. They may want you to do this and do that. But some of it is that you may have to pay for some personnel. So if governments do not put forth their counterpart funding obligation, projects delay. So it depends on the project. Some projects counterpart funding obligation may be very infinitesimal. Some of them, could be other requirements in terms of fiduciary requirements, what accounting controls need to be put in before disbursements. And all of these projects, whether it is World Bank, IDB, and others, they must be implemented as per not only your country systems, but as per laid down rules and regulations by the World Bank, the ADB, the EU also. So where you run afoul of those regulations or those expectations, projects will stall. So that's the reason why some projects have taken as long as sometimes 8 years when the plan was maybe 4 or 5 years. So we are getting into these projects and we are taking some of the actions. We are learning lessons from some of the from what happened, and that and also sometimes in negotiating a project, one has to be careful as to what conditions you agree with the partner. Some of the conditions, the negotiators may not understand the full implication, because the key negotiator of a project may be this institution, but some of the conditions may have wider implication on government for some institutions that are not in the room. So someone go and agree something, not understanding that to implement it will require a whole government approach, will require the participation of someone who has not been caught in the room. So what we're doing now, going forward, we're bringing everybody, and we're being very meticulous that all projects that we are discussing with partners, that we are clear on the conditions, because the effectiveness conditions, the disbursement conditions must be things that we all know are fair and proper and that we implement. We don't want projects to stall.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Let's turn to Fatima now to ask a question, and then we conclude with the whole issue of the spring meeting, and then go into the economy as a whole.
So, Mr. Minister, thank you so much for joining us. I know how I've been chasing you to come to the show, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to come and speak with us. My question is in a twofold question here. I would like to ask, what can the public expect in the coming weeks or months as a result of the spring meetings? And the second part that I would like to ask, were there any discussions or negotiations regarding debt sustainability? And if so, were there what points were addressed with regards to that?
Well, thank you, Fatima. Very good question. It is not only what can the country expect from the spring meeting. The spring meeting was just one of many engagements that the government has embarked upon. So look at all actions in their totality. What we are doing is reinforced what the president is doing. The president is the captain of this ship. He's leading the charge, and then we are moving. All other ministries, the Minister of Foreign Affairs is doing her part. The Minister of Education, the Minister of Health, because health and education help our country. The Minister of Public Works, Agriculture, improving food security. Everything converges to have an impact. So what I see, and from the engagement of our partners, what I see is progress for Liberia. And I say progress for Liberia in that collectivity. I see that tomorrow will be better than today. That we'll get better roads across the country than we have now. We have more electricity. We have better supply of water. As you see the pipes, the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, we're funding them. The government's budget, we gave some funding, to the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, but we're attracting donor financing for them.
Yeah.
There will be actions in sanitation. There will be actions in agriculture. All the projects have. In fact, in I think June or July this year, we are going to dedicate a new Redemption Hospital in Caldwell. That's why we're discussing yesterday. And there are more things on the pipeline. In beginning September, the Ministry of Education, through one of the World Bank projects, will start the construction of more than 100 elementary schools across the country. 100 elementary schools, in order to improve foundational learning in the country. So it's not just from one front. Implementation is going to happen from all fronts. When they converge, all that it will do, it will make Liberia better. People will come and see that where we were yesterday, we are somewhere better tomorrow. And then whatever we do, then we can only improve on progress. So I'm upbeat that in spite of our challenges, in spite of our differences, the country is making progress. So for me, as a Minister of Finance, that makes me happy.
Okay, Mr. Minister, thank you very much for giving us updates on the recently ended meeting, the spring meeting in Washington, D.C. We think the representation by you and others was good, especially with the updates you just gave us, the 490 million, 180 million, all of that for the road projects as well. Now we want to take you into the economy, Mr. Minister. This country, and I'm sure everywhere, you can build all the skyscrapers, you can build the hospital, you can equip them, the schools, you can equip them, you can bring all the teachers, you can make all the system so sophisticated. If you don't put bread on the table of our people, it means that you've done nothing absolutely. And that's the reason why I want to start with this question that has 3 or 4 legs. The question is, Mr. Minister, what's the state of the economy? And can you say that how is the economy is doing? What are jobs are being created? The cost of living, what are inflation is now under control, or are you still struggling with that? I want to hear from you.
Well, thank you very much, Soba. We are making progress with the economy. The economy is experiencing modest growth over last year. The last year experienced growth over the previous year. And from what I see, from where I sit, and from what I see is that the growth outlook looks good, although there's been some headwinds that have buffeted the space. But we are adjusting and to put things to remain on course. Growth, we had a growth of about 5.3% this year, for the first few months, over the last year's growth of about 4.8. We are taking, and they are mainly driven by actions or activities in agriculture, fisheries, and mining, and some forestry, manufacturing, and others. What we are doing, inflation is still in manageable limits. The inflation in January and what have you left the single-digit levels, and when I think as high as 12%, but they are back within single digits now. So Liberia is one of few countries that have inflation in controllable limits. Uh, Overall, the aggregates are good. The fundamentals still remain strong. It is those fundamentals that make us to say that we are making progress. So on a macroeconomic level, the Liberian economy is facing challenges, but it is still robust in spite of some vulnerabilities in some areas. I In terms of what we're doing, there are a lot of initiatives that are ongoing. Even in the budget, we put in some funds through the Ministry of Youth and Sports to start something called the Education National Service Program. It's almost, I think, $1 million or a little less than that. We will start to roll out some programs. We have attracted some donor financing for some projects. The African Development Bank there's a project called the Liberian Youth Entrepreneur in some initiative, I think through the Ministry of Commerce and others. There was an old World Bank project that we are expanding, and but all these initiatives help job creation. But let me tell you the biggest thing, the biggest intervention that help job creation. Two key binding constraints to growth are energy, lack of energy, and the infrastructure deficits, especially the bio condition. The actions we are taking are helping to unlock the economy such that, like for business, one of the key cost drivers is power. The cost of power is making many small businesses to go under. When we reduce the cost of power, when we increase electricity access, we sustain businesses, businesses will expand. When businesses expand as they are happening now, they will employ more people. Like we started, I told you, I apologize about the noise on Broad Street because people are on the streets in the night. There is electricity oil. There is a street light all around. People are selling longer. When they sell longer, people are buying longer, and they can employ longer. Someone can have, the morning shift, afternoon shift, night shift. So you have a 24-hour type of economy. We're reaching there gradually. So these things are being are happening. Uh, uh, and the net effect is that jobs are being created. The leges and others will give us the jobs data later, but I can say that all the actions we are taking, whether it's these short-term programs, but this intervention in education, intervention, because it's one thing to talk about jobs, but we also need to talk about, because you can have an employment problem, but you can also have an unemployability problem. You could have employment available, but someone could be unemployable because he or she does not have the skill. So we have to engage, we have to invest in both. So whether it is through vocational, technical, tertiary education, so that the jobs available, we have the skills for them. So it is a package of actions. It's not just on one lane, it is on multiple lanes. The net effect, the convergence of these things help to create the job, and they are creating the jobs gradually, and they are expanding the economy gradually.
Okay, Mr. Minister, thank you. Let me ask this question before my colleagues can come in. I'm sure you're quite aware that we are in the second quarter of fiscal year 2025. I want to ask you concerning the performance of the national budgets. Are funds being used the way they were planned, or is it the other way around?
Well, we are largely on track. The budget is a 12-month budget. Where you have, there can be seasonality. Sometimes, projection from first quarter may slip a little bit, and then you more than double up in second quarter. But overall, we are on course. One of the stresses we're dealing with You didn't ask that question. Is to be is we had the court abrupt cut of aid uh, to education, health, immediate agriculture because of the cancellation of USAID projects. And let me update here that it started with information that all the projects were suspended for 90 days. Then after a while, some of the projects started getting canceled. The American ambassador and the USAID director, the team, have been briefing me. They will come and say, well, 5 projects are being canceled, and then 10, 15. But where we are, let me announce that of the 29 projects USAID was implementing in this country, 27 of them have been canceled. So you're talking about, in dollars and cents, something upwards of $360 million in projects, commitments. The immediate affect education, agriculture, and health. So what it has done is that government's meager financing, meager budget, we have to start to intervene in some critical sectors, especially to keep some of the interventions that we consider critical afloat. We must make sure that we keep drugs in the hospital. We cannot sit and allow our hospitals to run dry of drugs just because one of the main partners supporting has decided to stop the aid. We will not allow that. We must continue to support education. One of the projects canceled was a school feeding program to incentivize school enrollment for our kids, and it's been canceled. The government, through this budget, has put in more than $1 million to intervene. So we are doing our thing. We are stepping up. We are some other partners are also stepping up, where you say is stepping down. Like you remember that we had this 1.5 million. You had this thing where there was this democracy project that was canceled. It made some headlines. It went to some places. You all follow that. That a project that was helping to improve confidence in democracy was canceled. But as soon as that project was canceled, the EU stepped up and decided to provide. So they helped to observe the NEMA election. That project was mainly helping NGOs, civil society organizations. So some people on waiting lists, some may not know that these cancer projects is not just government that benefits. There are a lot of civil society organizations now that are hurting. Some of them have become jobless. They have contacted us, and we are trying to see what we can do as a government to deal with the temporary joblessness. It's not just government. So we have these things. We've been intervening. There's been some stresses, but from some of the engagement we are making. Look, uh, one of the motivations for the deep dive, if you have a project, assuming $100 million project, and your disbursement rate is 20%, what that means is that you have $80 million to spend. Whereas we'll be talking about lamenting the USAID aid cut, how about the ones we have already available? Let's move faster. That's what I'm talking about. We run our talk, and we are moving faster. And from the momentum we're getting, the actions, the commitment that we are seeing, that we monitor, you will see faster accessing of resources, because it will almost appear scandalous that where we crying about resources, and then there we have some projects that we have humongous sums of money, you know, laying down, and we cannot access because of sometimes it's not the cost is not from our side, it's from the donor side, and so we engage in them too. So we engage in full throttle on all levels to make sure that delivery is ratcheted up.
Okay. Moses?
Yes. Let me just piggyback on what the minister said. I know, Mr. Ngafuan, you wake up tomorrow morning, most of the people, the least story would be the cancellation of 27 projects, USIF from the projects. This is a top story that you have just spoken tonight. And in the wake of this, the country, the economy, things seems to be a little bit difficult. I'm sure you and I will agree on that. You have this administration has one of the biggest budgets, over 880 million United States dollars. Even with that, the government has struggled sustaining some key sectors. Take, for example, let me take you to our own school, the Boko Washington Institute. I was looking at the budget prior to this interview. The annual budgetary allocation for BWI is less than $2 million. Minister Gaffron, how do you run a technical institution with less than $2 million? While you are juggling to deal with that, the United States government, through you, say, hey, we are folding up. So now you have a complex situation. Help explain this to the average people in Liberia. What are you guys going to do to fill these voids?
Well, Moses, you know, thank you for raising the issue. The one of the key things we deal with in the budget process is scarcity. Um, this budget, 880 million, is an upgrade over last year's budget of 738 million. But if I tell you that the total request, the minimum request that came from all the agencies of government, all the basic requirement, when we collated them in terms of costs, the cost was more than 2 billion United States dollars. The minimum we needed that ministries, agencies, branches needed to achieve their minimum targets. Now, if you don't have more than 2 billion available, you have 880. So you must rationalize. So many institutions are not where they were before, but they are not where they want to be. So the issue is that we are making progress. And one of the things we are doing, we are responsible too for donor financing. There are two ways that we finance entities in the government. One is through the government direct revenue, direct support, and sometimes through partners. So we direct funding, like I was telling you that beginning October or September, the Ministry of Education is going to start the construction of more than 100 schools in this country. Is donor finance project, but we are the ones that attracted the financing. And so it may not be in the Ministry of Education budget from the government, but it is government support. Because ultimately, some of these things, some of these flows, although they are very concessional, they are credits that the government pays back maybe over a 40-year period. So it is government that is directing the funding there. So people have a way of not chalking donor support to government, but it's government. So if you look at agriculture, some of the interventions that are happening in agriculture in other projects, it is because government agrees with the partners that we put the money here. So when you want to look at the appropriation, the support to an entity, you don't only look at the what we say it is on the government's budget coming from government's revenue. We also must look at the totality. So in all, what I can say is that we are making progress. We are not where we needed to be or where we want to be, but where we were yesterday is a far cry from where we are today. So there are stresses, there are streams. The USAA caught, USA was the biggest, the second largest donor to Liberia next to the World Bank. But we are adjusting. Some people expected the sky to collapse when they started to hear about those cuts. But the fact that we are staying course, we are hitting target, is evidence that the adjustment measures that we talked about, they are yielding fruit. So there will be turbulence, as I said. There will be situations that may appear temporarily disruptive, but as good pilots, we must steer the plane to destination in spite of the turbulence. And that's why it's happening.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Let's hear from Fatima.
Well, Mr. Minister, like I said, I always have a question and a backup question. My question to you first is that what are some of the steps that you're taking to continue to keep our country physically disciplined and to ensure that our debt remains lower. And the second part is that I just want you to elaborate, because most of the things that you're doing, we are watching the massive developments of the roads, your the things that you're trying to put into the educational sector, the hospitals, the welfare of our people, all of those things that you're talking about. But every time we turn around and look around, somebody is claiming that it's somebody else's project. Everything that we're doing, they continue to say, "Oh, why can't you have your own project?" So I just want you to elaborate on some of those things. As the Minister of Finance, as the man who's actually helping to resolve most of these projects and helping to move this arrest agenda forward. What can you say to the public to put his project, you stealing President Weah's project, to rest? Please.
Well, Fatima, let me say this. As I said in the town hall yesterday, this argument about whose project, who takes the credit, I think I want us to turn this whole question around. And let's face it on whose project, and agree that the projects are for the Liberian people. That is most important. These projects are not for any politician. They're not for me. Otherwise, I personally will start claiming projects. It's not what I want to do. Because I was in Kuwait in 2010. I took the design that was given. Let me just give that whole Banga Menekoma project. When we were concluding the debt cancellation conversation, I went to Madam Salif. Now I'm going to Kuwait to conclude this thing, and they will cancel almost $20 million in debt to the country. The country had taken loans during the Toba government for some development from the Kuwaiti fund. So what can we do now? We have free space to borrow. And I remember Madam Salif told me she went behind her decks. She brought the old drawing that was given to her by her VP then, who is now president of Liberia today, President Boakai, then VP Boakai. She brought the drawing of the Banga Menekoma Highway. That highway would have started in 1989 by the Taiwanese. But when the country went and recognized mainland China, that project stopped. So, but the drawing of the VP Boakai then had it, gave it to Madam President, and Madam President told me, this would be the priority. You all have been working hard. And as Minister of Finance, could not go too much to be talking. I had to act like I was neutral. I wanted the project, but she didn't ask me. She just said, "Well, we focus on the Monrovia Buchanan. We access the funds for the pavement of the road from here to Buchanan. In fact, just recently I met the World Bank Vice President, former World Bank Vice President, Obiageli Ezeki Sili, at the Harvard course or seminar, and she was asking about the Buchanan project because she came here a lot of times. We signed the agreement, so I cannot go be claiming Buchanan Road. You know, President Buckeye now, who put, and we interacted with him at Ministry of Finance. I worked with his office. We went to Kuwait. The Public Works team joined us then. Minister, peace be to his ashes. He was a deputy minister of Public Works. His name it will come back to me. He joined our delegation. We put forth the Banga Menikoma Highway. The Kuwaitis agreed. They gave the first $2 million for the feasibility studies. And in the transition, they agreed to put together the Arab Consortium. It started in our transition. My colleague, Minister Kone, continued where I left off. And then Minister Kamara, the first tranche of resources, I think more than 100 million was accessed for the Banga Menikoma Highway. And, and then the UP government left power. We cannot go be talking about project. Like the ministerial complex. I remember I signed a $60 million grant agreement with the Chinese ambassador there, for the ministerial complex. When last have I gone to say that's my project? But Manasali's project or this project, the Liberian people project. So I could go on the freeway, the RIA highway, the Seacram project, the project for the Ganta Hapo Highway was developed in 2016. Minister Gettings today, when he was deputy minister at Public Works, they started it, and it was government's project. We shouldn't get in this game of saying whose project, because the Fishtown Harbour Highway, that was developed, the first major financing or pavement went way to that highway. I was Minister of Finance in 2009. We started that. In fact, when I joined the ADB, one of the top engineers, he visited Uganda, he could remember visiting me in this office on that. So what is important to Liberian people? These projects are for the people. Politicians will come and go. Regimes will come and go. These projects are owned by the people. So while we are on the stage, for me, and President Buckeye, he wants us to deliver for the people. And so whosoever takes credit, that's their issue. But the credit is for the Liberian people. Liberian people will get proud that they have a good road. They don't say government. The Liberian man will boast that he has a good road, he has better electricity, he has, better schools. Let the Liberian people boast. Politicians can do whatever, but for me, let the people boast that their projects are going on. In terms of debt situation, I was part of this HIPIC process. We, in 2010 again, managed to reach the HIPIC completion point and had almost $5 billion in external debt canceled. We practically started on a clean slate on the external debt side. And then I remember, I think the 2011 budget, in terms of budgeting for debt, I don't think it was more than $10 million, our debt obligation generally. But I come back to the position in last year's budget or this year's budget, our total debt service obligation should have been $328 million. Just imagine. So if we were to be in good books, 100% with everybody, we needed to put $328 million just to pay all the people we owe. The debt stock is about $2.58 billion. That's what Liberia owes. On the external side, we owe $1.55 billion. I think on the domestic side, $1.06 billion. So domestic debt, what we owe locally, domestically, is larger than the government's budget. Most of you were saying now the government budget, it is big, but the debt we owe even domestically. So how are we managing? Prudent debt management. We have what we call a debt management strategy that focuses on ensuring that whatever we borrow, the purpose, the uses of the money for borrowing must be transformative, must give us what we call higher rates of economic return. I don't want people to get so phobic when it comes to debt, because debt can be good, debt can be bad. It depends on how you use it. People are every day trying to get loans from banks. So if debt was so bad, people will not go to the bank. But one person will go and take a loan from a bank, and we apply the loan positively, and that loan becomes the reason why the person becomes richer and expand business. Another person will go and take the same amount of money, apply the loan frivolously, and the debt becomes the reason why the person gets poorer, and all the person's problem will be attributed to that. So it depends on how you responsibly deal with it. Like, there is a ratio that we always talk about, debt to GDP ratio, and there are triggers. As we speak, before HIPIC completion, our debt to GDP ratio as a country was more than 700%. 700%, meaning our debt was higher than our GDP, more than 7 times. So as we speak now, if you take debt, but the debt you take helps you to expand your economy, it means the denominator is increasing. And if you still remember your elementary math, if the denominator increases with a fixed or with a small numerator, what happens to the quotient? What happens to the quotient? It drops. So your debt GDP ratio will drop. You can take debt, expand your economy, and still works for you. So the key is that what are you applying the debt on? And so we are ensuring through the debt management committee that our chair as Minister of Finance, the central bank governor is a member, the justice minister, that the debts that we are taking are concessional and they are going for purposes that will translate into higher economic return. Sorry for a long answer to the question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your answers to all the questions. And of course, share the show, please, if you are listening. We have the Minister of Finance and Development Planning on the nighttime heat tonight. You can share the show. Just if you have your phone or your laptop you are using, just tap Pram FM Monrovia 105.5. Again, Pram FM Monrovia 105.5, and you share the show for all your friends, your loved ones, your relatives, your partners to also be on top of what is coming out of the nighttime heat tonight. Mr. Minister, let me ask this question, and then I'm sure Moses will come in. I want to believe that you quite aware of the tension, the internal wrangling at the lower house, at the legislature, that is the House of Representatives. There's been this whole hullabaloo over the removal of the speaker. Now, the question is, did that in any way affect or impact the budget process?
Well, Sorbor, when I became Minister of Finance last year and Development Planning in September, one of the first things I decided to do was to ensure that the budget was prepared and submitted on time. Because one of the challenges that had dogged the budget process was, protracted delay. What protracted delay in budget submission to the legislature does is that it translates into late passage. And when all entities are waiting for passage of the budget, they practically on a state of pause, operating on 1/12 of the previous year's budget. In a way, new programs are, in a way, not executed in ways that we want. So In order to solve that problem, I was very frontal about that. And when I told the folks at the Ministry of Finance that we're going to deliver, we're going to prepare the budget, we'll submit it on time, and some of them said no, they couldn't believe what I was saying. I said we're going to do it. And what it required was that I had to put people through pressure cookers. And it was brutal. And I told them, if you cannot stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. The Ministry of Finance is the place where we get heat. and I'm facing the heat now, right? Through your nighttime heat. You're giving me heat, right? So I put my people on a heat, and we met the timeline. Technically, we had a budget prepared. So all we needed was submission. I think we had one or two technical glitches that that we needed a 1 week extension, and the president asked for just 1 week. So we were set to submit the budget, and all that happened. I would have been better off. I would have been better off than all my folks here. And let me say this. One of the things I'm very proud of is that when we were working, some folks working up to 2 a.m. in the night, what I saw were professional Liberians. And there was not issue of party. Some of them were seditious, some of them from ANC, some of them from UP, but we just saw professionals working. And that commitment made me proud of Liberia. So they delivered. They delivered the budget. Then the budget became a specimen in this legislative debacle, unfortunately for us. And so many things have happened since then. And we are getting positive feelers. It is not my duty to get into granular details. And for the sake of progress, please do not push me to get into granular details. All I want to say is that the budget process was challenged. We would have been better off had we not had conflict, but conflict is a part of life. And every democracy goes through what we call stress tests. The more you go through stress, you can withstand it and move ahead. Your democracy gets robust. So that's what I see. And I know full well. I interact with all the players. Sooner than later, you will see individuals that are fighting on both sides of the divide. You see them uniting on certain issues. You will not believe it. That's the Liberia we know. And you see them engaging. So I see the good side. And so I wish the country well, and that let this be put behind us, and let the professionals of finance not be stressed because the political house or the political branch of government is putting us under stress. But I think that these are places of elders. The elders can quarrel. The elders will have a way to solve that problem, and we, the children, will not be put under stress.
Okay, so Mr. Minister, before I turn to Moses, in your absence, while you were at the spring meeting, there was this startling revelation, in fact, about the salaries of some members of the judiciary, the Chief Justice, the Associate Justices, and some members of the other justices. That they've managed to work with you, when I say you, the Ministry of Finance and the legislature, to step up or restore their salaries to pre-harmonization status. Can you speak to this? Can you validate or can you deny? Or because the whole drama is that the civil servants themselves, they are not happy at all because they do the bulk of the job. If you can restore the judiciary to pre-harmonization status, what becomes of them?
Well, I will try to be as measured as I can. It's not that I have to help the conversation. It's my duty. I have to help the conversation. But I can just say this: the judiciary The judges across this country, they are what I call, they are the bulwarks that are protecting the rule of law of this country. They are protecting the Liberian democracy. They also are protecting economic growth in a way. So we are a country. So the judiciary had a situation where their salaries, especially Supreme Court judges and justices and chief justice and others, they suffered some downward adjustment. One of their concerns is that the law actually bars them from engaging in business. Some others who are working for government, in fact, legislators can even go and teach and do many other things, establish business rather. Sorry for the teaching, because usually everyone is allowed to do that. But the judicial canon prevents people who are judges from engaging in business. So what that means is that they are deprived of any ancillary income. So they depend on the salary allowance. So they made a case, and that I think they didn't have to convince us of the need to look at the salary of judges across, magistrates and what have you. And we've had some very good conversations with the Chief Justice and her team about even modernization of the judiciary, the court system, trying to even automate digitize hearings so that all hearings do not have to be physical as is done in other places. So we are trying to support the judiciary to even modernize. It's not only the issue of salary. And thanks to the cooperation of everyone, including legislators, we managed to do some adjustments that the judiciary, it's not just the first.
So what do you say to the civil servants now to pacify them, Mr. Minister? Because they are not quite.
Civil servants are not. We increased the salaries. And what happened is that for this year, more than 28,000 persons, 28,000 civil servants, and some other folks in the security sector benefited from different targeted salary increases, like the medical, the doctors. And let me say this is on the side.
Mr. Minister, let me. This is what I want to. This is what I want to. Interact with you, Mr. Minister. What you gave them was just a top up. You didn't restore them to their pre-war status. You didn't. To their pre-harmonization status. You gave them top up. So that shouldn't be something that can pacify them that you want to make reference to.
We are on the path. The road to Jerusalem is a long road, but we are on the path. Where we were yesterday, we are not there today. Many civil servants across you go to the health sector, we'll ask them where they are today and where they were yesterday. The soldiers, police, police, we also decided to pay the insurance for police officers. The Police Act obligates government to pay for insurance, but the government since for years now has not been paying. So we decided this year's budget we are paying agriculture.
Mr. Minister, don't you think, Mr. Minister, if you are restored them to pre-harmonization status, they would have paid their own insurance? Then talking about paying insurance for them, can that amount to restoring them to pre-harmonization status?
Sorbor.
Yes, sir, Mr. Minister.
The civil service, in terms of workforce, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have more than 60,000 persons. Given the government situation, the fiscal space, you know that last year, or before we came in, look, we budgeted in this year's budget to pay the central bank about $16 million to deal with a debt situation, because I think the government of Liberia in December 2023 had to take a loan of almost $80 million from the central bank to pay salaries. So this budget is we had to budget $16 million to start to deal with that. Now, imagine what it would have done for civil servant salaries this year. So we're dealing with a panoply of challenges at the same time and still making progress. Now, what the thing the civil servants know is that we are going to deal with this situation methodically, and we don't want to deal with it unsustainably. We could come and make promises that we will not continue. So when we say we're going to increase people's pay, we'll do it, and they're getting the money. I see one of the things. Look, Sorbor, we're talking about increase, increase, increase. Let me tell you something. One of the main effects, one of the main burdens that civil servants faced was delayed payment of salaries. If a civil servant, I gave this example, if a civil servant makes $200 taxable, let's assume you tax in 25%. But then you delay the salary, and the salary delay for maybe the salary delay for about a month or two, and the civil servants go to take a loan from a susu club, and the charge is the civil servants 25% on their salary. So the civil servant is going to lose $50. When the salary comes, that civil servant is going to get in effect. Besides the tax on that salary, the civil servant is going to get, lower money. So delay is a reduction in salary. One of the things I was very, very clear about is that we will not delay. We started, there had been some, technical issues that we sorted out, but we're largely on course. Some people are getting paid before the 20th of the month. What that does is that the credibility of the civil service of the Republic of Liberia has increased. People are not afraid to rent their houses to civil service of Liberia now. In fact, civil servants who get paid on the 20th can even loan their money, and they know that by the 30th, they can get some interest. So instead of civil servants going now to credit from people, they can indeed, if they're operating on the 31st to get their pay, they can loan their money if we pay them on the 20th, get interest in the middle, and then increase their salary. So they know they are dealing with a credible government. They know that we say that we are going to be increasing pay based on the improved situation. When government is hitting target, who is helping us to hit the target? It's the civil servants. And we will be fair to the civil servants. We started before it was $15 per month. And you know where we left it. So they're dealing with credibility. So the civil servants know that when we solve the problem in the judiciary, they will have a fairer court system. They love that. So we will reduce the vulnerability of judges. And President Buckeye and other stakeholders do not apologize for that. We will bring civil servants along, and we are bringing them along.
Okay. You can say when.
I mean, we started the first. I mean, we rolled out increases this year. And let me say one of my regrets. I was telling you about the staffers of my ministry who were working so late. We focus on key sectors, health, education, and others. One of my regrets is that those people that are working late, we couldn't add a dime to their salary. You think I feel good about that? Other key deliverers, we haven't done that. So we know. So that is not lost on us. We are working tooth and nail to expand the economy, raise revenue, and as we do so, the people that help us to raise the revenue, we have to be fair to them.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Let's go to Moses quickly.
Yeah, Mr. Minister, I would like to follow up on the comment you made regarding, salaries for civil servants. And if I'm wrong, help me, clarify. I think there was this recent pronouncement that the average pay in government is 150 US dollars. As Minister of Finance, I want you to tell the people of Liberia, and let's assume that I, Moses Sanya, live in Tomo Village, where I grew up, working as an ordinary civil servant, and the government is toting this news that I'm now earning $150 a month. Mr. Minister, is 150 US dollars a livable wage?
Uh, Moses, let me clarify this to you. We the Decent Work Act, the Decent Work Act mandates that the least pay should be $150. Government, previous government, and governments had been working to ensure that all civil servants, that no civil servant was being paid below the decent work minimum. What we said and what President Walker instructed was that no civil servant in this government, working for this government, will make below what the Decent Work Act mandates. It's an act that says the least should be that. So that's the least. There are gradations. Some civil servants make as high as 3,000, so across the civil service. So, so what we ensured was that the minimum was met. So, should I say that we've reached heaven on the pay situation of civil servants? No, I'm a stickler for good pay. I'm not one of those that think that if people are paid well, that's a harm to the country. No, I fundamentally believe that to incentivize people is better. Now we deal with a set of circumstances. We inherited gargantuan problems, and I cannot come and be unrealistic to say that I will wave a magic wand and all the problems will be solved one day. I told you about the debt burden. And if I tell you one of the problems we face here every day, people are demonstrating for money. Government owes this and that, and you are like you are my senior. And let me tell you that some days I have to practically escape through other doors here because some of the people that government who owes, not this government, will come and they will be violent. They will be violent. But that's the Liberian government's problem, historical problem, and we have to deal with it. So in one go, everything cannot be solved, and let's be clear about that. But all I assure the Liberian people is that every year, based on what we're doing, I'm sure that things will improve. We will face challenges. Some of the challenges will make us not to move at the kind of pace we want, but the pace will be positive. And we will deal with the situation, methodically. And people will see that where they were yesterday and where they are today, when they make a comparison, there where they will know that today is better than yesterday, and tomorrow will be better than today, and day after tomorrow will be better than tomorrow. That's where we're going.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Minister, so quickly, let me just ask the
Okay.
Minister, my question to you specifically, given the cost of living in today's Liberia, you Minister of Finance, Republic of Liberia, you understand the economy more than I do. Is 150 US dollars monthly a livable wage? I know you guys are trying to do this in keeping with the wage bill, the act, which says it at $150. If you are to pay people $150 monthly, with the cost of living in today's Liberia, you live there, you know it better than I do. Is $150 a month a livable wage? I just want you to say yes or no.
Uh, Moses, the $150 is in something called a Decent Work Act. It's a law. It's a law. And you know, There are when that law was being debated. Let me give you some of it. Let me give you some of the issues here. You know, we as a government, some government is a big potato. Government can meet the minimum. So one of the things that even came from the private sector during that debate, I remember, some of the private sector actors were concerned that if you put the minimum, the decent at a higher threshold, they would their businesses will collapse because they would not have the capacity to meet the law requirement, and they didn't want to be seen. So after all the conversation across the economy, that was seen as the point of equilibrium. Should I mean, from a vantage point, can I say that it solves all the problem of people? No. As the economy expands, the legislature, stakeholders, we must meet and see what we can do with the minimum pay. And that will be passed in law because there are all kinds of factors that must converge and we must look at because we could have a knock-on effect on some other sectors that we consider important. As a level at the level of the government, what we can see is that we have not reached the bus stop on pay adjustments or pay adjustments. We are working. We are working to ensure that we expand the power. We are buffeted by challenges, some of which I said. We are men and women of great. So we are not shirking from responsibility. We are advancing. And from what I see and what I sense is that the convergence of all of these interventions and delivery is gonna expand the economy. And when the economy expands, revenue in a way expands. When revenue expands, government has more resources to be fair to its people. And we have a history of being fair, and we'll continue to be fair. That's what I can say for now.
Okay, Mr. Minister, thank you. Let's hear from Fatima quickly.
So, Mr. Minister, I was at the Kapakulono program that was rolled out by the MICAT, Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. And at that program, you did mention that our budget now was, I think, 880 million plus. And with all of the projects, I think that you're overtaking and undertaking, and all of the roles, the education, the healthcare, and all of those good things that you're undertaking at this present moment, I am with the strong belief that next year Liberia will have the boldest and biggest budget that our economy and our country have ever seen since its history. The question some of those new projects that we're going to be looking forward to, because I'm interested in women healthcare. I see that most of our women are traveling out of the country to go for medical attention and things such as breast cancer treatments and other things. What are some of the things that we're going to do with regards to this budget to help our aging population?
Well, Fatima, we are working. Like yesterday, I was at the Ministry of Health. Me and my team were embedded with Minister Dr. Poto and her team, doing this deep dive. Deep dive is unlocking a lot of stuff. We also talk JFK, the issues at JFK and what can be done. So you will see, I don't want to preempt, but you will see a lot of things happening. We talk Jackson Hebdo Hospital. You're going to see things happen. We talk the AIDS program, the AIDS program in the country. The AIDS, some support that was coming from USAID and others have been stopped. The government is finding means now to see how we can intervene. So we are expanding the economy. New projects are coming on, but the one project we continue to be clear about. we will deliver. This government is going to deliver in few years. Fatima, you'll be able to drive from here to Hapa on paved roads. President Boka is clear out about that. Mr. Gedi is clear out about that. I am clear out about that. Legislators are clear out. And our partners, we tell them that. President Boka has said before that in terms of priority, once upon a time he said his first priority was road, his second priority was road, his third priority was road. And I usually love to quote the Chinese who say that the road to development begins with the development of roads. So we are on it. And that we are taking action on the Banga Menikoma Highway. I just articulated all the actions. We're not sitting. As we speak, we're taking action on the coastal highway, the Buchanan to Greenville and Harper too, right? Backleville. So everywhere is getting active. The Minister of Works, maybe you may want to invite him. I may not be, I cannot give you all the details here. The community roads that are going on now. We're funding them. All the communities all around. There are more community roads that will be done. You see what is happening in electricity. There's more power. More power is coming. You see what is happening in water. With what the water and sewer is doing. You see pipes. More pipes will be laid. On every sector. Because the president is pushing. We're talking less and working more. At the end of the day, for the Liberian people, this period, it's not a matter of, forget about all the politics and whatever. The issue is that where Liberia was, when we met it, we have to make sure that it is materially improved. And that's what we are committed to. And my job as Minister of Finance and my team, we know, as I said, the Ministry of Finance is like the heart to the body. The heart is responsible to pump blood to other parts of the body, the legs and the arms and what have you. If the heart does not pump blood to the arm, what happens to the arm? It gets paralyzed. So people call it stroke. So we are the ones that gave the resources for public works and others to deliver. So we don't want stroke in a way. So when you see projects moving, it means that the blood was pumped. It means that resources were given so that the Minister of Public Works should bother more about delivery and stop bothering about finance. It is our job as finance ministry to resource these entities. So we are working with them. The collaboration is excellent. So they are the deliverers. We are just facilitators. And what we see gives us, cause for optimism.
So, Mr. Minister, just a comment. I just visited the president before I came to the studio, and we were talking about this developmental agenda, and he made a statement, and I just wanted you to hear this. He said, if you take a race car to the tracks, you will see what it can do. It will execute jobs and bring foot soldiers like Ngafuan, like Mo Ali, like Jeremy Kpehe, like all those who believe that the arrest agenda will benefit the Liberian people and it will change the lives of the people. He says, so my name was not a mistake. Joseph was not a mistake. I know they have Moses, but God brought Joseph to do the work of the Liberian people. So, Mr. Minister, I just wanted you to hear that.
Well, Mr. Minister, we'll be opening the lines very shortly. Like I said, we'll go up to 11 o'clock and then end this program. But let me ask a question, and Moses also can come in. The MCC compact, Mr. Minister, where do we stand? And the second question, Mr. Minister, because we have to speed it up. I know you just said that your ministry is the one responsible to a lot to allocate funds. How do you feel, Mr. Minister, that those funds are allocated. They are given for work to be done, for basic social services to be, provided to our people. And at the end of the day, it's not done right. Or the funds are abused. How do you feel, Mr. Minister? What comes to your mind?
Well, Sober, in terms of how I feel, if the meager dollars that we tooth and nail, day and night, fighting to raise is pilfered by anyone, I feel horrible. I feel hungry. I've been part of this process for quite a while, and I feel that everyone needs to be fair to this country, whether in government or out of government. And we need to have a conversation, because being fair to Liberia is a order of society approach. We have to make sure that the integrity agenda is an agenda for Liberia, because the reason I say so is that government is populated by people from the society. If people from the society do not espouse those basic values of integrity and what have you, they will migrate to government and spread the virus. So while we are cleaning up in government, we as a society, as a government, as a society, must take it seriously. It is not one place. It should not be right to do bad anywhere. It is not right to do bad in government. It is not right to do bad in the community. It is not right to do bad in clubs. It's not right. It's not right to do wheeling and dealing in religious communities, in the press, in wherever. It is bad everywhere. So if we have that approach, the society will be reformed. So in government, and my folks know this, and we're going to take more actions at our level to make sure that the government resources are protected. Like today, I was talking with my folks, and I was very happy to know that one of the things we can do to deal with problems of skullduggery is improving technology, just making it difficult for people to maneuver. And so at the level of the ministry, we invest in systems. We were about to roll out into the 4 ministries and agencies something called the Electronic Document Management System, the EDMS. What it's going to do is that documents will be protected, and it's going to also help audit. One of the challenges auditors face is that they come after some time, they can't find the document, and then things get fuzzy. So we was rolling it out, this month, 34 ministries and agencies. We're going to continue. So system improvements, procurement improvements. We started with the e-procurement platform. Although there have been some transitional challenges that we're trying to resolve, we are calling a meeting with the PPCC and all the 6 entities that started on Monday. But the net effect is that we're going to limit this thing. For me, I feel we should prevent it. And we're investing in prevention. At the end of the day, when actions are taken, then it goes to justice, the LACC, some of the challenges there that we're trying to solve. But we are taking actions on all fronts. And the more government resources are gotten, the more we will put in our resources in. In fact, just recently, to conclude, we will launch a project called the Great Project. It is going to ensure more funding to the LACC for systems and what have you, to the GAC. Under that project is a $30 million project, and even the PAC of the legislature. What are we doing that? We want to strengthen our accountability structures so that we can make it difficult for people to pay for resources that the Liberian people, through their effort generate.
Okay. So finally, the MCC Compact, where do we stand?
Well, the MCC Compact, let me say that, the news about Liberia's eligibility was greeted largely positively across, because that will mean, faster development, more roads, more energy, and what have you. And in fact, the team from the MCC was here in January. The director of Africa was here in January, and we were given a go ahead to recruit the coordinator and the senior economists. We're going to recruit 5 different persons, six in fact, gender specialists, private sector specialists, and those are Liberians. And I can say this: we put an ad out there, and the applications came for more than 100 Liberians for those 2 positions. Liberians, mainly from the diaspora. And we were very upbeat that we're about to attract some of our best and brightest. Well, we don't have control over the American government, the American democracy, and what happens there. And that we have a new government, and apparently that the MCC may not be a priority, and things that, at this stage where we cannot continue to hope on an MCC. So where we are now is that, everything that we started, we have to pause it, unfortunately. But challenges come. Uh, we will get over this, and we're getting over this. Some of the things I told you. So we are attracting resources from other partners. But the main thing we are doing is not just from partners. What heartens me is what we are doing for ourselves. Last year, the budget was in the tune of $738 million. The domestic resource obligation we have was, I think, 690. The LRA, through effort and other revenue generating entities, raised 698 $8 million more than target. Last year, domestic revenue, the amount of money government raised in domestic revenue was the highest ever in Liberia's history. The highest ever in domestic revenue. So whereas we're talking about getting more, but that was a historical feat. Now, what are we doing with all of these difficulty, or let's say challenges that have buffeted us of late? We are expanding. We are focusing on expanding our efforts to raise money for ourselves. That's what we're doing. And the key is technology. The LRA is about to roll out systems improvements all across. And they call it, I think, is the payment switch that will be installed at businesses so that receipts are generated. There are archaic systems that we're changing, and that we are blocking leakages. There are going to be more audits. Technology will be leveraged. The net effect is that we're going to raise more money for ourselves. Ultimately, that is going to help us. We are in concession negotiations. We are in concession negotiations. We are trying to extract the best value for Liberia. We too are implementing a Liberia First policy. And so that's why we are focused on certain key things that protect our sovereignty, because ultimately they will help us to raise revenue and will help us to do more for our people.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Minister. Yes, we have to go to the lines quickly. Moses.
Yeah, so quickly, Mr. Minister, I want to take you to the arrest agenda. In the arrest agenda, one of the key pillars you have there is rule of law. Uh, I, I want you to tell the people of Liberia, the question is, this administration headed by President Joseph Yuma Boaka. President Boaka, does he respect the rule of law? And I will give you some graphic examples here. When the Unity Party came to the leadership of Liberia, President Boaka, you know, suspended for time indefinite people who hold tenure positions, guys at the LTA. He called for an audit, yet those people remain suspended. People have been acting for more than 1 year, which violates the laws of the country. When President Baka took over, the UP went to the Good Governance Commission and said, oh, well, you know, they want to enforce the code of conduct. The chairman of the Good Governance Commission was dismissed because the government claimed that he was seen campaigning in 2023 in violation of Section 5.1 of the Code of Conduct, which speaks against, political appointees engaging in political activities. The most recent election in Nimba, we saw several government officials, including Mo Ali, the managing director of Water and Sewer, the managing director at LPRC, TUE, and those other people, flagrantly violating the code of conduct, but the president has said nothing. And those people continue to enjoy his confidence. And lastly, uh, the final arbiter of justice in Liberia, the Supreme Court, took a position. The court said, in the wake of the crisis in the House of Representatives, the court ruled that every action taken by Richard Kuhn and the quote-unquote majority black that did not conform to Article 33 and 49 of the Liberian Constitution, those actions are considered illegal. The court also recognized the legitimacy of the speaker. But the president came and said, well, I recognize, I acknowledge the ruling of the Supreme Court. However, I will deal with the group that has the quorum. But here, go back to Article 33. In order to have a quorum, you need to have what? A presiding officer, as defined in Article 49. The presiding officer is the elected speaker. You cannot have two sections. 10 persons cannot come together today. They say, well, they're having their own section, and 4 of us get together and say we're having our own section. The law is wherever you have a session, the presiding officer is the elected speaker. But the president says, I will do business with the people who have a quorum, even those people are considered illegal. I want
Moses,
you to
what is
us,
the question?
Mr.
What is the question,
Minister,
Moses?
yeah, Mr. Minister, I want you to tell us, President Baka, does he respect the rule of law? Simple.
Thank you very much, Moses. What I can tell you is that the president respects the rule of law. The presidents face and presidents see more than the ordinary persons will see. I usually make this analogy for the Ministry of Finance. I'm at the 9th floor. When you're on the 10th floor, you want to see Broad Street. When you come on the 9th floor, I can see Broad Street, Ashmore Street. I see West Point. I see some part of the Newtown. There's a good side. The next time you visit this country, you're my big brother. I will come and show you the window. The higher you go, the more.
I will come to you, my man.
Yeah, my man. It's been long. You see more, and there are some data you will have that the ordinary persons may not have. And the ordinary people at their level will judge you based on what they know. And sometimes you have to be quiet because some information cannot be divulged. And when the ordinary person sees the totality, I call it the panoply of information, then you can start to understand certain things by hindsight. From the outset of this conversation, I said I didn't want to delve into too many details because my duty is to enable progress, not to frustrate it. But I just gave you one. I gave you one, and I will beg you not to allow me to go in detail. We don't want a situation where you are very passionate about payment of salaries, very passionate, and I could see the passion oozing from every part of your being, and I know that because I know that since 1987 from BWI, you stood up. You've been the Moses Sunday I know, and you have processes that could make sure that people don't have salaries, including people from the judiciary. You have processes and precedents that are dealing with too many things. Even World Bank support that coming in upwards of 40 million that will help the country and that we need to be dealt with and to be accessed. The resource in terms of millions and millions keeping the country afloat. Presidents must juggle many things. So the higher they go, the more they see, the more they know. But all I can say is that President Walker respects the rule of law. And after some time, there's a running saga. Sometimes to analyze a saga while it's unfolding may not give you what we call, the broader perspective. After some time, when things have become academic, we can have a full-throated conversation on this issue. Then at the time, I will have full freedom for us to talk this. For now, I just want to say that, the president is not a lawless person.
Okay.
He's looking for what is best for this country. And he's working with
Okay.
all the stakeholders to make sure that the country is on course. There are a lot of behind the scenes things that are happening that are very positive. I don't want to talk about across all the political lines. So let me allow the folks that are doing the behind the scenes thing to continue to do what they're doing. At the end of the day, I know Liberia will make progress. Thank you.
Period.
Major headline story: the president is not lawless. Says Augustine Kpehe Ngafuan. Okay, let's allow to read, the major headline to read those who are viewing, and then we can open the lines quickly.
So thank you guys so much for coming on tonight to watch our show, to view it. We have James Vani Dualu. He did not say where he was watching from. We also have James Fala, who did not say where he was watching from. We have Siafa C. Family. He didn't say. Vani Saki. Of course, Vani is my brother. He's from USA. He's actually from Minnesota. Martin W. Brown did not say. Melvin Belngay, it did not say. Aloysius Banks did not say. Archie Parkinson did not say. Masa Kone Gafuan, she didn't say. Bill M. Querson from Freeport. J. Way Wilson Jr. did not say. Emmanuel Bashir, Samuel T.K. Tengbe did not say. Patience Sekipini Kume did not say. George O'Brien didn't say. Frank Davis didn't say. Patrick Logan is from Maryland, United States. Vasco Jabate Sr. didn't say. Moyan Sherry from Banga City, Bond County. Tonya Kuhn from Virginia. Franklin H.B. Sanon didn't say. Santana Sumo didn't say. Briscoe Sankor didn't say. Emmanuel P. Potter didn't say. Liberia Eminent Intellectual didn't say. Shad Jesus Wolotubo didn't say. Diana S. Newman didn't say. Samuel Prosperous Clemens didn't say. Ezekiel Corner Jr. didn't say. Rachel Hammer didn't say. Oh, Rachel Hammer is from Pennsylvania, USA. Indomitable Ruben didn't say. Oyanis Nyenswa didn't say. Antique Bonyanon Jallo didn't say. Amos G. Carnley didn't say. Lawrence Laplap. Dobo Hagba didn't say. Ernest Gray Davis didn't say. Morris Carver didn't say. Lincoln P. Youngport didn't say from Nima County. Milford Deco didn't say. Lou Divine, my cousin, she's from USA.
Okay.
Tita Donzo didn't say. Abraham Bundle didn't say. Roland W. Toy from Bata Pactor. Blama V. Kamara from Turkey. Henry T. Toles Jr. from Caldwell. Prince Jimmy from Australia. Ernest Johnson from Nima County. Bangali Kroma from Bushwood Island. Tyrese Blessing from Old Matadi. Samuel Kofi Woods. Emmanuel Morris from Banga, Bon County. Victor S. Blama from MPDP. Abraham Political Setu from Doe Community. Foma OK Nyai from Graham Kipmount County. Venetius Junior Bob from New Crew Town. Abraham Khalil Amadou from Monrovia. Jusu Kamara from Burrville. Teddy Amos Conto Jr. from the grounds of Power Temple. Andrew S.K. Cole from Lofa County. Lucky Roof Stewart, Base TV.
Okay.
G. Praise Lockley. OG Dologame.
I think we can exhaust that list. The list
I think
so
we
long.
can. It's too long.
Let's try to open the lines on
It's too long.
07784607093. Again, 07784607093. That's the number to call, and you are live on the Nighttime Heat tonight. Our guest is the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Minister Augustine Kpehe Ngafuan. Again, 07784607093. That's the number to call, and you are live. And you are live on. Okay, let's take this phone call. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. George. Good evening to you on the whole bed, and good evening, Papa Ibani.
Equal.
Good evening to Honorable Ngafuan. Great intellectual. My name is Papi S. Bugli. I joined the conversation tonight from Southtown, April 14. Well, let me say good evening. Let me say good evening and welcome in the Parliament, in the platform, in the Honorable Richard Honorable Speaker of the 50th Legislature. I want to also say thank you very much, Honorable Ngafuan. You know, your presentation is not actually surprising. We know the world knows who Ngafuan is, and we want to appreciate the government for the effort in interest of the people and you, the media, as well, for this kind of informative having the country to make sure that the parents are aware of what actually is going on. People shouldn't just be sitting in the corners and then just focus on the government, what the government don't know. It is important to keep it in marital mind, the next feeling you know where actually the income is and how it is used in the country. That's also transparent. So thank you very much.
Okay, you made your point already. Let's take the caller. Hello.
Good evening, Sorbor, and good evening to your co-host, and good evening to the consumer Liberian.
Okay.
My name is Abraham Political Setu, and I call from the most talking about Baguba Government area.
Let's hear from you
I
quickly.
appreciate the Minister of Finance, Honorable Augustine Kpehe Ngafuan, and entire team and the Minister of Finance. I think they do extremely well. Now, one thing is that when it comes to the energy sector, I can remember on the Dixon Sea, we've been advocating for constant electricity. Because if we have constant electricity, our librarians, the librarians people will do business both in the night and in the day. So we express a constant electricity, and I'm appreciative for supporting the Ministry of Public Work. We're seeing a rapid road development in the country. So I hope and pray that the President vision, President Joseph Nima Boakai vision will be seen by the Liberian people, because now you were elected on the days of change. So I must say kudos to the entire team. Thank you for the opportunity to go to master. we can make Mama Library a better place.
Okay, many thanks. Let's get another call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Good evening, Sorbor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. This is K7 Double calling from Tech.
Okay.
Can say good evening to your fellow panelists and to the Minister of Finance. Mr. Minister, I have this problem that I hope you can help me address it. We've had too many humanitarian gestures coming into our country where we have donors funding coming in, the donor will come and fund on that project. And sometimes
Hello? Oh, I think that's the network. Hello? Okay, let's take a call from the other line quickly. Maybe he will call back. Let's take a call from this other line. Good evening. Okay, 0778460793. That's the number to call, and you are live on the show. Hello? Hello? 0778460793. Again, 0778460793. That's the number to call, and you are live on the Nighttime Heat. Our guest here is the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Augustine Kpehe Ngafuan. Again, 0778460793. That's the number to call, and you are live on the program tonight.
What about a Lone Star number?
The Lone Star numbers may not be on tonight, but you can still call 0886 540-987. Let's see this caller. Hello? 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 Oh, it seems that we have some technical problem. Hello? Hello? Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Let's hear from you quickly.
Thank you, Sorbor. And let me take good evening to this Fatima and Moses. Wow, this is William Covey, and I tell you this conversation to the city. Let me say thanks to the dynamic fundamental of our country, Augustine Kpehe Ngafuan. Look, thank you, Mr. Minister, for explaining the revolution. You want to tell it better than what you said. So, Mr. Minister, I should appreciate you as a chief financier for all of the government projects in this country. That when you talk about road, the government of cities, people electricity, and all of those things is coming from the office as a finance minister. But my concern is that, Mr. Minister, you need to look in the direction of PRO when it comes to the government possession. Because you can do all of the good things, but when your last cannot to oversee the functions or your positive working, look at effort will go in vain. Like now, we're seeing the first propaganda start creating all over around some media and even social media, like the government has not started its own project, only continuing projects on the 5 period regime. And that is live, that is yes. And some of us, we know that the government has started projects. And then the time that, if the government were invested in see our town, then we should have seen the magazine outside and we see we're not saying that you should be like a predecessor who say you will weaponize the media against the opposition. No, that's not the kind of PR we're talking about. But you can create programs that the government initiatives will go across down to the people in the market. I want to see the magazines and the photos in it, when these projects are, when these contracts are, and when the projects begin, and when they end, the people will believe and they will not listen to any for Ghana.
Okay. You made your point. Let's take this call on the line. Good evening. Hello? Let's take this caller. I'm sure it's an overseas call. Hello?
Hello?
Okay. Let's hear from you.
I'm very even calling from Central Time.
Okay.
I want to appreciate the minister. I'm a civil service. If you're not done anything that is true to them when it comes to civil service payment, since November to present, every month, like about 2 months ago, I took pay before the 20th. I have never taken pay after the 24th November last year. If the minister has not said anything truth on that radio tonight, you can call 10 civil service. I work at the civil service agency. That I know. 2 months ago, I took pay before the 20, and I even loaned my money out. I have $50 interest on my salary. I can put my neck on top people. I can taste it to my Holy Communion from November to present.
Okay.
Salary at revenue.
Okay, thank you. Let's get to the call on the line quickly. Hello, caller. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, let's hear from you quickly.
Good evening, Mr. Minister. Good evening, Mr. Minister.
The minister is listening.
I'm J.C. Johnson. I call from Ghana. I just want to take this time to appreciate the minister for such a brilliant developmental platform that have been brought forth to this country this evening. And it is my own recommendation to the minister that there's a need, since today is Friday evening, nature of church to be repeated sometime next week or summer cast, so that those across listening, those across the radio land will follow him and they will understand where he came from and to where we are as a country, where he intends to take the country along with Mr. Waka related to the developmental initiative that will improve the standard of living of our people.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you for such a brilliant presentation and more of this.
Let's get the call on the line. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Sorbor. Good evening, Fatima. Honorable Minister Ngafuan. How you doing? I'm Joseph Fremont. I join you from Broadville. Let me appreciate the minister first, and let me say this: the rescue team, the agenda. When the guys were in opposition, they were propagating message. They were coming back to counter the myth, demystify the myth. Today, they are forgetting about the propaganda. They're forgetting about the informing the people by the day that the other side will come with a myth. At the end of the day, they're not coming to demystify somebody's myth. They are sleeping, they are forgetting. And which of course, you must tell the people the day-to-day activity when you are doing your work. So I think that the rescue agenda should be able to come back with a strategy, get an exonerate. Sometimes if you can make it, the exonerate will take the message to the people in the village, in the town. Okay, the second one again, the project.
Hello?
Okay, let's just call on the line. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, let's hear from you.
Yep, my name is Benjamin Garay Lawrence, calling from Kemitowa Estate District 4. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for the show. First of all, I'd like to personally, I'd like to study this government, what the government doing, the former minister of let's go, one of the people I look at, rather take government opportunity for those of the Liberians that outside the country, the nation of, even those that are in the country to work for one to take better. I don't like to hear so benefit or so benefit, we really appreciate it. I think what the people of the from the beginning country, Liberia, is very happy to be listening to you. Everybody is happy. I do imagine we really appreciate it. We don't live unity party as they all anybody against them. We know they are offered that. We pray for the government to be successful for everyone. We bless you. We bless God for you. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
How you doing, sir?
I'm okay. Let's hear from you quickly.
Yeah, I'm Santos Bobo and I call from Basotan.
Okay.
I want to thank to the minister who is still there for the good work that he's doing, and I appreciate him. I want to encourage him to continue the good work, and the Reverend God will be happy with our government. And one thing I want to say, the minister there, he not enough, but I and his brother attended the same school, going to Ngafuan from Poland Public School.
Okay. We'll take only 2 more calls and we'll wrap it up quickly. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you.
Good evening to the minister again. So I want to stress something very serious on the radio. You cut me off. Why? I'm Joseph Fremont. What I'm saying, All of the projects we see in rural area and in Monserrado, but the projects go. I think the government need to place the contractor feet to the fire to carry on the project very fast. But they are slow. Sometimes they don't work even Saturday. Sunday they don't work. Foreign contractor, they can work Sunday, they work in the night. The time people going to work, and the time they want to speak. The time people come from work.
Okay, let's take this last caller quickly. It's almost 11 o'clock. Hello?
Hello?
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, I'm Pekicha. I'm calling from Speaker Kofa. I'm calling from Speaker Kun Polofa.
Okay.
I'm Kofa. After I'm Pekicha, I'm calling from Speaker Kun.
Yes, go ahead quickly. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to say something first. Speaker Kofa is related, and then you guys keep coming back on the show.
Okay, he's belated.
Please keep with your time on the issue. No. We have other important things to say. As the minister said that he's moving and running forward with the project, and you guys keep coming back with the Kofa issue. We are not here for people to delay the country.
Okay. Thank you. You made your point. I think we can. Let's take the last one quickly. The call's just coming in, and we can stay here. We have to go. Let's take the last call quickly. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, let's hear from you. Let's hear from you quickly.
Yes. My name is Peterson W. And I joined from LPLC Council.
Okay.
I am known as the stable ambassador. Hello.
Yes, go ahead quickly. We're listening to you.
Yes, I'm listening to the minister, and I appreciate you for that. And I must commend the government. Even the electricity issue, we are pleased now, and our children going to school.
Okay.
Minister Ngafuan is not swing to me. For me, I know he personally.
Okay. Many thanks. It's almost 11 o'clock. We have to go. Mr. Minister, I'm sure you've been listening to the callers. Let's get to your response and parting comment quickly.
Well, thank you very much. And those that called to give us...
still calling or else would I go home?
To give us words of encouragement. We take note. We're encouraged by your words. Those that have suggestions, we've taken notes. It's not only me, but I know other officials of government. We spend more time trying to work, but we take note that we need to avail ourselves to the public more. Yesterday, thanks to my friend and brother, Joe Limick Matthew Pierre, the Ministry of Information launched what is called the Government Town Hall at the City Hall. And I and the LRA Commissioner General, Double Jala, were the panelists. It was launched by the Dean of the Cabinet, Her Excellency Cyril Beslo Nyanti, on behalf of the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Jeremiah Kpankun. They had, people from all sectors of the society, including traditional leaders, students, and we were grilled for almost 2.5 hours. And the government intends to take that program across the country, where government officials and others who have information of consequence to the people will be available to not only taking questions, but to listening to people's suggestions. In the budget formulation process, we go out there, we send our team to go and interact with people and take note. The concerns that we receive help to impact the budget. So government PR is going to improve. As a government, we're going to put more money into doing, and definitely the money that we put to doing will far outpace the money to marketing, because sometimes just by doing you market. If you market so much and you do less, all you're doing is just mere bombast. So we take note. But I want to say thanks to you, Sorbor, and to you, Fatima, and to Moses. I've been very busy. I think and you almost missed me because of some meeting. I should have been here Wednesday, but you persisted. And so thanks for this initiative. Continue to serve your people. We want an independent press that is robust, that can give audience to all sectors, all sections, views of our society. We in government, we take note, we hear, and we do not say we are paragons. We always are trying to improve. That's the humility President Boka brings, and he's been very clear with us that we need to do more for our people. And so let's continue to work together. At the end of the day, all the projects we're going to roll out are not for President Bokai. They are not for me. They are not for Minister Giddings or Mohammed Sharif from LEC. They are not for Minister Jala at Education, or not Minister Pia or Minister Pei or Minister Kobangalu or CSA Director, Dr. Josiah Joker. My colleague just got a doctorate degree, and I would be remiss if I didn't put a doctorate there. And then it's not for the Minister of Health. It's for the Liberian people. We get better health care. Liberians can boast of better health care. You don't have to praise a government. You praise yourself. We get better roads. You can take better pictures. You can move faster somewhere. It's for you. Better water supply will help your house, will reduce disease. So basically the message I want to leave is that, we can all have our political parties. We can all have our denominations, but we all have Liberia in common. Let us unite in the Liberian flag. Each of our counties have county flags. We have one Liberian flag. The government is to deliver for Liberia, and that's why we are delivering. The light that we are expanding. We do not ask for a political party ID cards for you to get the light. We do not ask for political party ID cards for you to get on good roads. We will not ask for political party ID cards for the 100 schools that the government will start building beginning in September. Let us unite for development. Because, as I said, I will conclude, and I've been very passionate about this. Liberian people, every time we go to election, politicians will win. And if you have all senatorial positions open, you're going to have 105 winners, meaning one person for president, another for vice president, and then 73 members of the House of Representatives and 30 senators. 105 questions winning. 105 questions win. But how do the Liberian people in their totality win? Liberian people win if the government and the people they elect do for them through development. If we build roads and expand road to Harper, the Liberian people win. Every year is critical to the Liberian people. It's not only election year. So 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, all those years are the years the Liberian people must win. The Liberian people need to take those years very seriously too. It's not only election year. So that's my message. Let us unite for development, because the developments that we bring is for every one of us, no matter your political party and whatever persuasions. Thank you very much. And it's not being with you, and it's not getting some of your heat. A little cool hard before I came here from where Moses sits in the cold. You took the heat and gave me some heat, and I think now I'm in equilibrium. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for taking time off a busy schedule to appear on the Nighttime Heat. We hope to again grill you on this program another time.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Minister.
Thank you.
And thank you to
Thank
Fatima
you.
and
Yeah.
Moses.
Yeah.
We can do our usual analysis, I'm
Okay, give
sure.
a parting
Yeah,
comments,
but
right?
let me say farewell to my brother. You know, there was a
Okay, go ahead.
reunion, right, Minister Ngafuan?
Thank you.
It was indeed pleasing to see you, and thanks for all the good jobs you continue to do for our country.
Thank you. Thank you
To
very
see
much.
one of us from BWI at that level, we are happy that BWI is represented. Keep up the
Thank
good
you.
job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay,
Thank you.
Fatima.
And Mr. Minister, thank you so much for coming today. I know how busy you are, but to look into your schedule and be able to accommodate us, the pleasure is ours to have you. And I will leave you with this quote that President Boakai said today. He said, the Ghanaians say that um, Ghana is the gateway to Africa. However, he is saying that Liberia is the destination. So, together with you and all of the line ministers and directors and all of the different entities, when we continue to work together as a force, we'll move our country forward. Thank you for Liberia. Thank you for making us proud. Thank you for all of the plans in the arrest agenda. Thank you for moving our roads, our hospitals, everything, and working with this president to ensure that he delivers to our people. Thank you, and have a good night.
Okay, so yes, Mr. Minister, we say thank you again, and we're hoping to have you another time.
Thank you, Soba.
Okay, so on behalf of all the producers, my two panelists will be on Monday. Monday, yes, we'll be on Monday.
Yes.
We'll be on Wednesday. We'll be on Thursday, Friday. We are thinking about how we can go daily now,
Yes.
but we're still looking for the resources to be able to go daily. Until then, on behalf of the producers, Sorbor George is my name. Have a pleasant time.
Thank you, producers. Thank you to all of the viewers.